Welcome to an episode of First Use, and in today's video I'm going to go through Port Adelaide in their first quarter against Carlton. Now Carlton have been under the pump all week. That's where you see what both sides are going to go through. I'm going to go through Port Adelaide's strategy, how they were able to execute and kick 5-0 in the first quarter. Now, throughout the year, Carlton's been really good. They've been really good starters, but Port went in with a great strategy. A position, one-on-one behind the ball, transitional running, ball off the line. They separated the zone. They were able to dissect Carlton's zone to be able to get it inside forward 50 and put scoreboard pressure on. So let's go through the clips and I'll show you how they're able to execute that. So they have the ball deep inside Carlton's forward line. They were really patient with the ball, Port Adelaide. They were able to switch the ball. If there wasn't any options, they'd switch it back. What they were trying to do is they were trying to shift the defence of Carlton. And because Carlton went a zone, it was really easy for them to dissect it. So Connor Rosie's got it in the back pocket here. And he's just assessed, just takes his time, understands. A lot of their players were running wide. And then they'll have players out wide towards the boundary just to really separate and really expose the zone of Carlton. So he gets it here, little kick. So what they ended up doing with this zone, when you have a zone in place, you can see Carlton's zone here, standing here, and this guy's just come off the mark. But what happens is when you actually have runners come through, they're put in two minds. Does this guy creep or does this guy creep? And in this day and age, this game is so quick, you haven't got time to set up. What I reckon last night, what they should have done after the first quarter, Carlton, is gone man-on-man behind the ball, and you'll see that and how Port Adelaide was able to do that behind the ball. So great kick here, Horne-Francis. And then you have players going this way. So they're actually they're on the move. So what they're doing is this, once again, they're separating the zone through the corridor for Carlton. So, and then you play on. And now this is a great kick. But what's happening here with Carlton, the zone setup, it's allowing this next layer of players to be involved for Port Adelaide. So you've got players on the move here. You've got players pointing. You've got players on the goal side here. Because Carlton set up this zone, it was easy for them to actually get goal side because they were just zoning grass pretty much. And this is a great kick from Horne-Francis. Puts his teammate in the position to receive. That's Bergman. And then they're out. Goal side. So they should have got a goal from this. But you can see, and this is the first 2 minutes of the game. So this is, it's not to do with it. This is purely and simply work rate. Their zone broke down from Carlton, and Port Adelaide exposed them. So Port Adelaide has the ball, and so what they were able to do, Port Adelaide, they were able to get their numbers out towards the boundary. And what this did, it just spread the zone of Carlton. But it was pretty much, they were able to, because they were able to spread, they were able to come back through the middle. And you'll watch here, Saad takes off, zoning back, and leaves this player free. With the ability of Port Adelaide to change the direction, change the ball, chip, lower their eyes, they ended up dissecting and ended up dissecting the zone and also bypassing their players, Carlton's defence. So the ball muck around here a little bit. Then they got a 2-on-1 situation. But this is just a great kick. Now look at that free. So he's in his vision. They actually got two there. Got another one there. But in his vision. But because Saad's gone off to zone, go back, which is in line with where the ball is, what Port Adelaide did was just kick off the line. And they just had loose everywhere. And it's a great kick. And then they're going inside forward 50 again. And they should have been able to kick another goal. So this is the point kick in. So you can see that Carlton set up this zone. So a lot of players, there's 3 players, or 2 players in particular, zoning grass. But Port Adelaide just dissected them. They just were able to come into their areas, be able to go through the middle, and great kicking skills by Port. And look at that, able to hit up. So then you're in between the zone. And because they had players out, they were able to separate. They were able to spread the zone. But they were patient. They didn't. So they mark it in here, and they weren't reluctant to go down the line. What I'm trying to say, they were very patient, particularly off the half-back line. They didn't want to go down the line. They wanted to hold the ball and be really patient. So Connor Rosier's got the ball, so he's looking down. There's one-on-one, but the Carlton players are zoning off again. So there's numbers somewhere. So here's the movement here. They don't use him, but you can see that there's movement happening away from the zoning Carlton players. Look at all those zoning Carlton players. So they just basically dissected him. But it doesn't get used, but they're still, once again, patient. Even this player is on goal side, goal side, goal side, goal side. So because the zone was breaking down, they should have gone a one-on-one Carlton and then be able to have accountability, sticking on their man, but also get goal side. They weren't goal side. Connor Rosey switches it to both, but you can see where this zone broke down. So here's the zone for Carlton at the moment. All right, so they're just all it takes is one player to run in between the gap to confuse which player, because they don't know which one to go. They like, oh, you should go, I should go. No. And then it's a great kick. Bang. Now you've eliminated all those players. Now they try and go back, but because there's Port players are going on the 45 and they're spreading the zone, they weren't able to contain him, Carlton. So he goes back. Look at that. And there's a lot of pointing, but there's no accountability. They're just running past these players. Goal side. And they just chip it up. They just did this all night, Port. Bang. Particularly in the first quarter when the heat should be on, they just dissected. They stuck to their structure. Really good coaching from Port Adelaide. And then they still got players out, so the ability to go out. So what this did when the Port Adelaide players went out to the boundary line, it created space in the corridor for other players, as you can see here, goal side again, to come into the space that they leave. And Carlton just stood there and watched it all unfold. Got it again. Out to the boundary. So then they chip again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 2 Port players. So they just were guarding grass. 1 out. Separation. But look, there's the space. And they were really smart and just kicking into that space. Bang, mark, inside forward 50 again. So what the defensive structure of Port was really, really good. So what they were able to do is they went one-on-one. So it was really smart play. And what it did, it forced, this is still all in the first quarter, it forced Carlton to kick down the line, and it also forced them into really basic errors. So got the ball here, he looks up, he can get there on one-on-one, one-on-one, so Sard's going on his left foot, one-on-one, 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 one-on-one. So Port really good, offensively really good at spreading the zone, hitting the targets, foot skills, lowering their eyes, kicking over the zone. But when they lost the ball, the ability to go one-on-one and be accountable on one-on-one, and it just forced Carlton. You would have noticed all night, Carlton just get back off the mark, get down the line, Radic Alea, intercept marks, Wooshka, slingshot footy. So Sard's trying to create something. He comes back to go into the corridor, turnover. And that was just, that was the first quarter was a whole snapshot of the whole game. So Carlton have got it deep in their back 50, and I don't know how they found this kick, but they slot it through. because they go one-on-one, so one-on-one, this guy's coming over to cover for this player here. So there's a one-on-one there, there's a one-on-one there, and they didn't have enough time, and this is basic errors. It's about getting back off the mark, but because they were trying to rush it, because they were trying to get it on quick, because they knew that Port Adelaide got one-on-one, it forced them to make those errors, another turnover. So really good by Port, the ability to get structured behind the ball. So Port Adelaide's going left the screen, just a bit of 101 here. When you're defending, always look to see who's got the corridor covered. So this is in the defensive half of Carlton, and they're structurally okay. They're okay. They've got a bit of one-on-ones. They've got it all. So they've got one-on-one. And I know there was a change. Chincotta went off, and then Butters quickly came back. Always have a look on the corridor. Always make sure, as Carlton players, that's the most dangerous area, is the corridor. Give up the boundary line. Always look at the corridor. But they didn't. Ball comes out the back. Butters wins it. Kicks inside forward 50. Turnover. So you think there was spread. So they ended up, okay, the ability to see this. He hasn't even marked it yet, and he's off. So that's good play. But I love the way the structured set up with one-on-one for Port. So once they knew it was out of their area, or in this situation Carlton's going to win it, they went straight to one-on-one behind the ball, and they're able to force these errors. Hines gets it, and then they're out. So they've got a bit of space, got a bit of separation, but they're one-on-one. You got Leah there, he's come off, and you've also got one-on-one there. So they come back in the middle, but this is great play here from this Port Adelaide player. So we've got one-on-one, 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 one-on-one. So structurally set up. That was from a stop play. So Port Adelaide able to set up really, really quickly. So he's trying to thread the needle, but great. That jut comes off. Comes off his man. Might have been Curnow, but comes off to support. But there you got the one-on-one, and this is one-on-one here with Connor Rosey. So really good play. So the ability to go from attack to defence really quickly was outstanding from Port Adelaide. They win the ball back, and now they've got spread. So the ability to then go into attack mode and spread the defence, because they knew that Carlton was going to go a zone as they set up behind the ball. They get it here, and now so this is a zone set up for Carlton. But it's this one-on-one. If they had a stuck, but they exploited this, Port Adelaide. They had plenty of movement. So they have players moving that way. They have players moving laterally. They have players moving on the 45. They're always moving, always trying to get in position. So it's the umpire's called play on here. So the ability to creep up, but you think that they'll be able to force a turnover here, Carlton. But no, they're just the ability to try and zone off and not be able to press up on their man. This player ends up getting it. So he's looking. You think he's got him corralled. He's doing the right thing here. Not overcommitting. And look at this. All you need is this separation. So the ability just to go with their man. But because they're always on the move, Port Adelaide, they're able to get away from this zone. They're able to just break down the Carlton zone. Goes on his left, kicks it inside forward 15. Georgiadis takes the mark, kicks a goal. So many, just the zone just completely broke down. This is great work here from Horn Francis. So he's there with Chera. They just go to the contest, but the ability to second and third transitional running. The ball's in the speed. He's on the ground here. Ball comes in the next contest. Great work. Great transitional running away from the centre bounce. Gets the ball. Goes on. There. Great awareness to go laterally. That's Chera there. Ball watching. Great awareness to go. Really awesome play. Just get smothered, but we're going inside field 50. So really awesome play there from Horn Francis. Great lateral awareness. Great second and third offensive running. So this is the last clip. Curnow's got it. He's on the half-back line here. And you can see what Port Adelaide was able to do. So, one-on-one, 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 and then you've got Radicalea there comes off. So Carlton's got a spare somewhere, but they don't. Their spare was not being used, so it just played in their hands of Port Adelaide. And he just kicks it down the line, bang! Radicalea marks it. So you can see from that footage there in the first quarter, the zone wasn't working for Carlton, and Port Adelaide knew that. They dissected it. Their transitional running, whether it's offensive running, whether defensive setup with one-on-one behind the ball, their 45-degree runs, their ability to go out to the boundary lines and spread the defence of the zone and then be able to chip back into the centre. They put their players in the position where they could see the space and they went onto it. It was really well organised, and that's why they were able to kick 5 goals in the first quarter. It could have been more, but the ability to work for one another, the ability to lower their eyes, they completely dissected Carlton's defence. It was really well done from Port Adelaide.